top drop like black socks and the black top rolling at the park. We ain't stopped till at the dark. Centric at the plug, we listen to Noriega. Shoot chirp phones with the heat like Darth Vader. College we was rocking the Supra, Darth Vader's. Now we watching Moses stick our noses in the fader. Before Tory Kelly told the homie to play it, we stacked keys in the dorm, praying one of us to make it. Me and Swain thought we'd have to resort to crippin'. Now me and the wifey reserve the resort while we trippin'. Back before niggas ever heard of Blake Griffin. Raps LAC, Daryl Bailey as my witness. Picking on my youth, the west side I eat. They say, Richie, you got the juice, well that's fine by me. Till I'm old and gray, push the caddy with the cane. I'ma still be the same, switch lanes to Wu-Tang. Just give me that old school music. That shit that make you music. Even drop top, we cruising. Drop top.
Yeah, that man. Look, I know that y'all ain't bloods, but I'ma have you bang your beat to the sound of the subs. I came a long way from back when I was slanging drugs. Now when I step on the stage, that give me crazy love.
Bruce,
what's up? What's up?
What up, man?
Chilling.
How's the week going?
Oh man, I have figured out a way to incorporate my cross training or my what is it?
Cross training.
Cross training and Pokemon hunting. Therefore, no circuit training. That's what I want to say. Circuit training and Pokemon hunting. And it's going very well, sir. I appreciate. I'm just saying, it's going very well.
So you've turned the Pokemon gym into a real gym,
bro. I've made moves. To tell you the truth, I'm not even kidding. Like this is something worth blogging about. If I blogged, this would actually be something worth blogging about. Like to show people how to do it. Mm-hmm. Not that it's an original idea or anything, but it's just I have to keep my fix going on Pokemon. I got a Charizard today. That was a big deal.
You got a what?
I got a Charizard today.
A Charizard.
Charizard.
I can't even say it right.
It's a big deal, so don't clown me.
Don't clown it. No, not at all.
It was a huge deal, and I was working out at the same time. I was catching Pokemon. It was amazing. It was an amazing shift in my mentality. And letting me know that I'm getting ready for the fall, bro. You know what I'm saying? Got to get fit, all of that.
Yeah. I just do a treadmill while I'm watching TV. But hey, you want to catch Charizards? That's what's up. All right, so let's just get into it. What's the word of the day?
The word of the day is life course perspective.
Life course perspective.
Yeah, this is how, when sociologists are looking at people's life and taking it into consideration how we're socialized throughout our lives. We're not just socialized in the beginning, it's all throughout our lives. And we have significant steps all the way through. And I was thinking about this because of our main topic, which is the Olympics. And we'll get into more details as we're going along, but a lot of old people in the Olympics, quote, old people. I'm going to put that in quotes. Old people in the Olympics.
Yeah, if you're a 19-year-old gymnast, you're an old person, right?
No doubt. And so, yeah, that life course perspective, it was really that and the, like I said, just what we were thinking about the Olympics and whatnot. The life course perspective really kind of hit me, as what we need to be talking about, what we need to focus on today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love the life course perspective. It's one of those parts of the classes where you introduce at the beginning, like week 2, week 3, mm-hmm. and then every single chapter that you go into in some way, shape, or form, it comes back. And then I know for me, I get into marriage and family, like toward the end, it comes back. Then you get into all these different phases, it comes back. You weren't expecting this. Tell me about your life course. How are you being socialized again, or a new socialization that you're experiencing later? I hate to say later in life. That makes it sound like you're about to die soon.
Why you gotta make me feel like I'm older than man? Life course perspective and what?
Yeah.
You know what?
Have you hit a new milestone in the life course? Not in a minute, huh? Makes it sound like
no, I'm doing good. I mean, the milestone that I'm hitting is that I'm actually going to do my launch my introduction to sociology textbook. and it's actually it's a really big deal. It's that, you know, here I am at 45 and I'm doing new things still. You know, and I know that probably sounds stupid to some people, especially when they're like 60. When they're older than me, that probably sounds really stupid.
Right.
But when you're my age and you don't have and you don't interact, I don't interact with a whole bunch of older people. For whatever reason, I really don't interact with a whole bunch of older people. Both of my parents have passed away, and my in-laws, we don't see each other as much as they see my kids a lot, but they don't see me as much. And so, you know, it's just weird that, you know, you grow up and you start understanding that you do get older, but there's a good side to getting older. Yes, I know the aches and pains and, you know, staying in shape, and shoot, man, my father-in-law, he just had a triple bypass surgery. So that's no joke. You know what I'm saying? My mom had the same surgery. And so it lets me know I better stay fit, right? It lets me know I need to stay fit, and yet at the same time, I know that I need to, you know, just keep growing. And so that's my life course. Like I said, I'm at 45. I'm doing new things. I'm still doing new things, surprising myself with what it is that I'm doing and whatnot. And so, and I'm really excited about that. It's a real big growth step for me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I want to pause right here because I got the Facebook Live going and people bug out. They're yelling at me on Facebook Live all the time. Listen, I don't know how to do this with Facebook Live. It's a miracle that we've gotten this far. So the Facebook Live is to get folks to go to the actual YouTube and the Google Hangout if you got it. Other words, you can only hear me, and I'm actually talking to somebody. So when I'm not talking, there's someone else talking on the other end. So that's what's up. That's what's happening. So let's get to the main story. And before I do, we got somebody real special that's in. I hope to get his opinion soon. We got one of the preeminent, foremost doctors.
He's interacting with us. He's texting with us. We're going along. That's cool.
He think he's gonna be quiet the whole time. I know that's not gonna happen because we're talking about the Olympics today. It's exciting. I love the Olympics. I went to the Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia. I thought I was gonna be an Olympian when I was running track. So the Olympics are always my thing. I saw track and field. I saw baseball when I was at the Olympics. My mom was actually planning to go to Rio this year. So the Olympics is kind of the thing. And it's interesting because, you know, sometimes I tend to be very critical of the red, white, and blue.
No, really?
I tend to be a little critical sometimes. But nevertheless, I still love cheering for.
The guy who doesn't even root for the United States team in regards to true football? Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, France is my team all day.
Anyway, all right.
France is my team. But I do. I cheer for the Americans. I cheer for all people with darker skin. I don't know. How do I say that? How do I say it? I do. I cheer for the Southern Hemisphere. I really just cheer for people. I just love good competition.
Absolutely.
But the Olympics in Rio, of course, have a lot of controversy that stems from water, corruption, and this is nothing new, right? So before we get into anything, I really want to frame it by saying for a lot of folks who are just coming into the 2016 Olympics that are seeing the way that folks have been treated in the favelas, the way that the infrastructure has not been done according to what was promised when the bid came in so long ago, right? This is some of the critique that's been happening around the Olympics for the greater part of the century, right? There's a good documentary on Hitler's Olympics that really show a huge change in the way that we thought about the Olympics as this huge spectacle and away from just a sport and competition itself. So, Javon, I'm going to bring you in, but I want to hear, Dr. Hoskins, what has been your perspective? And we're still early in the Olympics, but what have you been watching? What have you been thinking about?
You know what? I've only been able to watch at night, and so mostly I've been watching swimming. And my son, when he found out that Michael Phelps' nickname is Aquaman, he was all in. It was like, I don't know what it was about hearing that nickname, but he was like, man, I got to see this dude. And staying up until 11 o'clock at night for 2 nights. which in my world that's late. 'Cause in my life course perspective.
The life course.
But anyway, and he was just really excited about that in regards to swimming. And I'll tell you what, anything that related to water, just during the opening ceremonies, I'm not even kidding. I was watching it, and it was like everything that related to water. I'm like, man, is people really in the water right now? Ooh, I heard bad things about the beach sand. That the beach sand even had high traces of raw sewage in it, also. And man, I couldn't. Oh my goodness, I couldn't stop thinking. About all the, like I said, all the health concerns that was going on. I was watching it. The first day was over at my friend's house, and it's like every 5 minutes someone was busting out a Zika, reference or something like that. And it's like, I want to say joke, but you shouldn't be joking about things like that. And so like I said, it was really interesting to see all of that. Me personally, though. What I was way more interested, I was really interested in their opening ceremony. When they did the slavery, when Brazil's opening ceremony actually talked about, I don't know if they talked about it, but just symbolized the tumultuous history that they've had in regards to race and ethnic relations. I was like, props to them. I'm like, that actually resonated really strongly with me. And I thought to myself, that is so not what the United States would do. They would definitely not do that. You know what I'm saying? Not only would they not do like reference slavery at all, we would find some kumbaya way of trying to make it all like nice.
Do you remember? Did you watch in '96 what the opening ceremonies was?
No, I wasn't.
It was a huge celebration of like, I remember it was Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Gladys Knight singing "Midnight Train to Georgia." I mean, I don't think that's too far fetched from what you're suggesting. Hey, Javon, I'm gonna bring you in, man. I'm curious about what you thought. Did you see the opening ceremonies or?
His mic is muted. What's up, Javon?
How you doing, brother? So you just gonna bring me in against my will? I'm just trying to listen in.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. Be forewarned.
I honestly haven't watched it at all.
Oh man, he's glitching.
We cutting out.
Hello?
There we go.
Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah, I haven't really watched it at all, and it's not because I'm not a fan of sports, or not even because I'm not a fan of the Olympics. I mean, I'm a fan of sports in general. I think you know that. I just haven't had time because I'm finishing books, and just take a week-long trip to Atlanta recently in the middle of finishing 2 books.
Let's go.
To do poetry slam, like but I mean, I have read some things about some of the discourse following it. I think there's something to be said about the complicated relationship I think many folks in the U.S. Have with, if that's what we're talking right now, with the U.S. team and the U.S. in general, right? So there's the wonderful memes about how here's a moment where they're willing to celebrate us. And we're all American now. The pictures of Gabby Douglas. I don't know, because I didn't see the whole thing, whether or not she refused to put her hand up, or whether or not they caught her in a moment when it was down, or if she just did it because that's her right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. But I say all of that to say, all of that.
Oh, snap. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So all of that illustrates a complicated relationship, I think, particularly black folks have, or folks of color, formerly colonized folks in this country have with the U.S. Olympics. There's a moment in which we could shine internationally, but we shine for the very country that often treat us as second class at best citizens. Then you have that.
Oh, he's glitched again.
We got the glitch, Javon. We had I learned how to put stuff on the screen now, so when people watch, they can see what we're talking about. Yeah, what Javon is referencing is just last night after the women gymnastics won gold, Gabby Douglas did not have her hand over her heart during the national anthem. And that was one of the things I actually wanted to kind of talk. Oh, Javon's still stuck on the screen. There we go. One of the things to kind of bring up was Gabby Douglas, who did not have her hand over her heart during the national anthem. You know, at what point is it mandated or necessary that you have your hand over your heart during the national anthem?
Look, it's her right to not do it. I don't know why she didn't do it. It's like, look, to me, it's not a big deal. But at the same time, when you see four other people and all the other, you know, people in the Olympics doing it, you know, you're thinking that, and you're in the Olympics and you're supposed to be representing your country. A lot of people would assume that, you know, a lot of people would assume that you love your country enough to where you would pledge allegiance to it. But at the same time, look, you're the one that wrote the poem about you know, John Carlos and I forget the other brother's name, Tommy Smith, right?
Yeah.
We understand. I understand that, and so when I see somebody not put their hand over their heart, I don't automatically jump to think bad things. It's like, look, I love the United States. I wouldn't rather. I want to be in the United States. I don't want to be anywhere else, and yet at the same time, I don't cover my heart.
Well, I think it brings.
So
I guess the question I'm asking is, I know during the Pledge of Allegiance you put your hand over your heart, right? Because we're taught that at first, second, third, fourth. Oh, my daughter was learning that in TK, right? Yeah. Put your hand over your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance. But for the actual singing of the national anthem, it's become sort of this thing that really only happens in sports.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? And so you're putting your hand over your heart during the national anthem in sports, but correct me if I'm wrong, in the military, do soldiers cover their heart?
No, I don't know. They stand at attention.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, this backlash that Gabby Douglas gets, right, who got backlash in last Olympics after winning gold for her hair, which is a whole other topic.
Definitely.
This backlash that Gabby, right, that a young Black woman gets for doing something that, as she responds, she just didn't do it. It's not a protest. Whereas John Carlos and Tommy Smith was clearly a protest, right? And
exactly.
Norman, right there next to him, were clearly protesting with them. For Gabby, it was no one said it's not a rule, it's not a law that you do this. It's I mean, it is sociological. It's a folkway, right?
Right. You know what? Although we talked about it last week, it's reminding me of the policing of Black bodies, especially Black female bodies in this particular case, because with I always forget her first name, but Obama's daughter, I keep on forgetting the first name. But I just heard in the news today that, you know, she was that there's other video or pictures that are suggesting that she was smoking marijuana at you know, Lollapalooza, and this is for some reason a big deal in a state that where smoking marijuana is legal and she's 18 years old, and it's like, where's the story? What's actually the story here, right? It's like, you know, last week we were talking about status, and now I'm just frustrated. Like, yo, leave the girl alone. She had fun at Lollapalooza. I don't know. She didn't do anything different than, well, she did a lot of things different, I'm hoping, than a lot of other folks who are probably running around, you know, doing crazy, you know, crazy stuff. But this, like I said, the idea of policing Black bodies is just like that to me is what's coming out more so than anything else, right? It's like, I don't know if a white person would have got the same attention if they wouldn't have put their hand over their heart. Maybe people just give her a pass, but the idea that you are Black and all your movements are now, not only do the police our movements, but the social media obviously police our movements too.
Yeah, certainly. And I think to me it's the vehemence by which it's done, right? It's the violence and the other names that go with it that are just evidence of our outright, you know, as I always say, our outright hatred of women and our outright hatred of Black women in particular, right? A particular type of hatred of Black women that goes so deep into this country's history. I know you also wanted to talk about the Russians. That sounds so 1980 Cold War. Let's talk about the Russians.
But it's so, oh my goodness.
119 athletes banned from Russia. I think all but 3 track and field athletes banned from Russia.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Just performance. Well, the thing that I kind of think about though is I've talked to a few folks that are really into really competitive, that level of athleticism and know a little bit about the game. And please don't misunderstand. I get that there's surely people in the Olympics and who compete at such high levels who don't do PDs or PEDs. But the saying was the person that was talking to me was just like, look, the people like, the people who aren't doing performance enhancing drugs, they're the ones that are not winning. The people who are winning, they just figured out a new thing that's just below the radar that they can do in order to to compete at that level. And because there's some things that we know about the human body, and that is that the human body, it stops getting better. Here we go with life course perspective again. It's like you don't get more athletic after 25. Like this is just generally the rule. You can do different things with your skills, but you're not going to continue. You're not going to get necessarily jump higher when you're at 25. If you're already a high level athlete, whatnot, you're going to not jump higher, and all of this stuff. And so anyway, there's been some folks in the Olympics that have vastly improved, and I'm like, and they're in their later 20s, and I'm like, that's interesting. Just saying. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but like I said, it's just that the way that Russia did it seemed like it was government sponsored, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's I mean, that complicates things even more so, right? I mean, on the one hand, when you talk about the individual incentive, I remember just in college the number of people who were dirty, who were using some type of what we now will call performance enhancing drugs, just in college, just to stay one last season, just to get a better mark, Yeah. So the last thing I want to do is let folks think that this is only happening at the top level. I mean, this happens at all levels for people who have no shot at making the trials. When it comes to the top, my concern again with the Russian team is that this is state sponsored.
Right. I know exactly.
Now you're getting into all types, and this is Russia and Vladimir Putin. And I'm not going to be the one to go into global politics here, at least not today. But this is okay. So I'm gonna stop. So before we go all the way there, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. It's crazy.
And
it's not to say the United States isn't doing somewhat of the same thing, at least in some way, in terms of turning a blind eye, but it's ridiculous.
Hey, look, if you don't get caught,
you're not trying.
Dirty. Yeah,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, and if you don't get caught, you're clean.
But I do think about one thing, right? For a lot of these folks, these are folks who this is their job.
Right.
What do you do if not this? Right? Like in a country like Russia, folks who are performing are training since the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Why are they training at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? There's poverty in there's drastic poverty and inequality in Russia.
Yeah.
Right? Why are the Jamaican track team so good? Dirty. Yeah, you would do whatever it takes to get out of those conditions, right? And the sacrifices and the compromises that go with it. Justin Gatlin is dirty, right? Track and field in particular. And you can extend this, I'm sure, to cycling, swimming. If you don't win gold in the Olympics, you don't generate a viable income,
right,
for a lot of these folks.
Yeah.
So, again, this is strange for sociology. We're always thinking about the larger impact, the structural impact of why these things are happening and what's going on. It's not just a bunch of people who just want to win.
Yeah. This is involving our children. This is involving our lives. These are all of this stuff trickles down, to us, the average everyday person, to where there's people in my gym that use steroids,
right?
And I'm like, yo, why would you do that to yourself? But look, I don't have any space to judge because I was the one playing football too, and I probably lost a few brain cells with a couple of concussions. And back in my day, we just called it you got your bell rung, right? But now under concussion protocols, I would have actually got sat down. I would have probably got sat down for half the season with as many blows to the head that I took. And this was after the rules for not taking blows to the head were installed because I was an offensive defensive lineman. And whatnot. And so, here I am. I was still able to get my PhD and everything at the same time. I'm like, yo, man, how many brain cells did I lose in this bad boy? What was I willing to risk? I was a 5'11" offensive lineman. I had no future, and yet I was in there grinding. I started.
Football is not an Olympic sport, right? American football.
Yes, I understand that. Okay, but I'm just saying, what are you willing to risk? Right?
Got it.
What are you willing to risk?
Got it.
And so, I was willing to risk brain trauma. I didn't know that at the time, but I'm looking at it now like, man, my memory getting foggy. And I don't think it's just, it's like, look, I'm 45. I'm hoping it's just my age. But yeah, just saying.
Well, if Condoleezza Rice had her way, I'm sure we'd all be having state-sponsored steroids for football too. All right, let's move on to the next topic. She loves football. That's all I'm saying. She loves football. She's a big football fan. I don't know. That was an irresponsible comment. Let's move on to what should we do? You want to do stat of the day or pop culture next?
Yeah, let's do stat of the day.
Do stat of the day. What's the stat?
All right. So the stat of the day is that I was reading this article and they were doing research in the United States, or just comparative research about life expectancies. Life expectancy, infant mortality rates, and a few other measures, and they wanted to see. They were testing the effects of power. They wanted to take a national survey and figure out where the life expectancy was. For the United States, it's about 5. The infant mortality rate. I'm focusing on that infant mortality rate, which is it's a morbid thing. So please forgive me for this, but how many children die within the first year of their life. That is your infant mortality rate, and they take it per 1,000. And so then so for us it's 5, and that's as far as developed countries. That's a pretty good number, but it's not as high as other countries with, dare I say, socialized medicine, although that is fully accepted socialized medicine and whatnot. However, what this research found out is that in the United States, in the poorest regions in the United States, that they have infant mortality rates that are comparable to like Mexico, which has double-digit infant mortality rates, something like 13. And whatnot. And while Black people, it all sooner or later it comes back to race. While Black people have very close to a double-digit infant mortality rate in the United States, and that's across that's in the United States. That's not focusing on region or anything like that.
Right.
And that is a very real thing. I mean, we're talking about, if you go with the first world, second world, third world kind of country thing, that the Black people in the United States then are living a health, a health or having health consequences similar to second world countries. If, like I said, if you believe in categorizing things like that. And so that, honestly, to me, that adds to another theory that I appreciate a lot, internal colonialism, that Black people are an internal colony, and that would be, I would offer that as evidence that there's a group of people in the United States who are experiencing a lesser lifestyle than what other people in the United States could expect. That coupled along with a lower life expectancy, and whatnot, and that's like I said, more evidence that I could offer about Black Americans being an internal colony.
Yeah, one of those. That's one of those stats, infant mortality rates. That is when you look at the measurement of a country, the health of a country. That's one of the stats that all the World Health, the CDC. That's one of the first things they look at, along with literacy and some other things that most of us wouldn't think. In the United States, we think the health of a country is measured in economics, solely economics. But infant mortality rate is a huge measure. So I actually knew that from my research for my master's thesis 10 years ago. So I actually knew that. Felt good. Unfortunately, when you do your research 10 years ago and it's a stat that's, let's just say, heartbreaking, you'd like it to change in 10 years, somewhat, but
that's and look, when it comes to life expectancy and infant mortality rates, those are, as you were saying, those are the two measurements that the World Health Organization, they use in order to document how good a nation's healthcare is. And so, the United States, as much as we spent, I think we're still like the top spender in healthcare, and yet we're like mid to late 20s in regards to our healthcare, how our healthcare system is ranked.
Well, we have the best. We have the best health care with among the worst access, right? So that we get this interesting mix of where we rank, top-notch facilities and care and knowledge and education, but again amongst the lower echelon in terms of access. Good stat.
All right,
good stat. Once again about Black people dying, but good stat.
And the last thing to say is and that's going to be a real hard stat to change, because when we're talking about millions of people, and although it sounds like a small difference, right? It's like the United States life expectancy is 5, Black people is about 9 something.
No, that's per thousand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing to remember, rates.
Yeah,
I love talking to 18-year-olds about the difference between rates and amounts. Isn't that a great conversation? You don't realize it until after they get the test back. Like, oh, you didn't see that word? No, that didn't make sense. Oh, okay, my fault. I assumed. Pop culture wise,
bro.
I mean, the Olympics have taken over much of the interest in TV. But I haven't been watching a lot of TV. Just listen to my usual sports talk. And what I found was a very interesting story. That in Boston, it was supposed to be bobblehead night for David Ortiz, Big Papi. Are you familiar with Big Papi, Bruce?
I am very familiar with Big Papi.
It's supposed to be bobblehead night for Big Papi. And let me see if I can get this image on the board. This was the bobblehead that was supposed to come out. And at the day of, after all the bobbleheads had been delivered to the stadium, they decided, maybe we shouldn't actually give this out. It looks a little inappropriate.
No, that's the good image.
That's the image of the bobblehead.
Yeah.
So they thought that's not appropriate. Amongst the first look, I actually thought, and the
no, bro, there's another image that's
where's the other
way worse.
This is the bobblehead, right? This is not the bobblehead.
That's the good one. I think that's the good one.
Well, because
there's another one with his lips are like completely white.
Well, someone messed up. Well, either way, this is supposed to be what the bobblehead is depicting, right? His famous "We're effing Boston" or whatever. Yeah. Powerful speech after, riling speech. I don't know about powerful, but riling speech after the bombings.
Yeah.
And either way, it did not get put out because they thought it looked a little crazy. Upon first look, I didn't think it looked too bad. But after I kind of looked at it for a while and then looked at the original image, I said, oh, I see how it looks a little crazy.
Bro, the image that I got, I'm looking at your New York Post one. It's infinitely worse. The one that you showed was actually kind of okay. The close up of the one that I'm seeing on the thing, it was the lips being white was way more pronounced. Maybe you didn't quite see that. And so for the people who are like trying to catch up to like, why the hell is this so racist? With the white lips that, like I said, and is searching fervently for this, for this image that I'm talking about in the New York Post. Yeah, bro. Like I said, it's way worse. And it's so August 9th. It's August 9th, New York Post. That's the image. But it's way worse with, like I said, the all white lips, because that is a minstrel. That would be a reference to minstrel shows, and minstrel show. That's so for the people who don't know, that's the folks in blackface. That's the reference that with the all white lips. It would be for minstrel shows, and so people doing white people doing blackface and then acting all crazy and buffoonery, and all of that stuff. And so so to me, when I saw that image, and then like I said, and then I saw the white lips, because there was obviously some mistake, because they were they were posting that first image that we saw, but then somebody made a mistake with the white lips, and I'm like, man, who the hell signed off on that in the corporate ladder? Like, who signed up on the white lip version of this? Maybe they thought it was gonna be cute. Maybe they thought nobody was gonna notice. And I'm still tripping out. You can't find it. You can't find it.
Yeah, I found it. I was showing the very nice one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that was.
I believe you. That's why I say it. Initially, I was like, okay, it's a bobblehead. It's gonna be a little cartoonist, a character in some way, shape, or form. But as you can only imagine what it actually looked like when you're not looking at an image on the computer, like if someone sees this and thinks that it's a bad idea, my reason for bringing this up today, props for them to pull in all those thousands of bobblehead, the tens of thousands. Props to them for just doing that and recognize, like, you know what, this doesn't. Yeah. No pun intended. This doesn't paint the organization in the best light, right? This is not. That was pretty funny. I didn't know what other word, but I guess pun intended. Whatever. But it's a terrible representation, a terrible reflection, particularly on his retirement year. I could imagine folks would be destroying the organization over this stuff, right? So, cool for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to not force an issue that, to not just pass on, say, oh, we didn't mean that. It wasn't designed to be that. No, it don't matter. That's what it looked like. That's what it reminds me of.
It was the Red Sox president, Sam Kennedy. Props to Sam Kennedy, like straight up. Props to Sam Kennedy for looking at the dollar, going, nah. we can't do that. Right. We can't do that. The words were offensive and racially insensitive. Now, those were the words that he used with the white lip David Ortiz or Big Papi. I'm messing up his name already. No, I said it right. Props to the president of the organization for being able to look at that, and because somebody big had to make the call.
It had to go all the way up to the top.
It had to go all the way up to the top. Yeah. It was like, okay, did we do this or not? Did we do this or not? Did we do this or not? And it was like, nah, we can't do it.
Somebody looked at it and said, this looks kind of crazy. Talk to such and such. What do you think? I don't know if I agree, but I see your point. Talk to such and such. It moved up the chain.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm telling you, with the writing at the bottom of the bobblehead doll, the WB Mason, like, it felt minstrelly. I'm just made up a word, and that's completely fine because I have my PhD. Straight up, it felt minstrelly, like, for real. Like, looking at it, the impact of it was just like, yo, that was a good call. Props to the Red Sox organization for making the right call on that one, because, like I said, if they would have let that out, yeah,
we would have been talking about it still. we was gonna talk about this one way or the other.
Yeah, it was gonna be bad. But like I said, props to them.
That's what's up. All right, so what are you watching? Let's wrap this thing up.
Okay.
What are you watching? I know you went to the movies last
night. I watched Suicide Squad.
How was Suicide Squad?
Look, the way that it got bombed on by the critics, I had very low expectations going in. I'm just going to be real about this. I'm like, you know what? I want to watch this. It's got Will Smith. It's one of my favorite actors. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna put my money down. But it was Tightwad Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I only paid $5 for it, and so I'm good. You know, right? It's like I got my annual bucket of popcorn thing, and so it wasn't gonna cost. It didn't cost me a whole bunch to do this. I think the whole night cost me like $10, and so I'm like, you know what? That's a good night. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the movie. I would have given it what the viewer or the people said that the viewers critique of Suicide Squad was like a B plus. Yeah, like B plus, A minus. I had very low expectations. I wasn't expecting to see. The critics were like, there was very little of the Joker in there, whatever name Leto of the Joker and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't care. I didn't know he wasn't the main thing. It was the witch and all the magic stuff that was supposed to be happening. So I'm like, why would he be in there more? It just, I'm having a very low opinion of critics lately. That's what Suicide Squad was very entertaining.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're here. That's why we ask. We want to know what you think.
Yeah, I think that it really came very close, if not stepped over the line on the rated R rating.
It was not rated R.
No. It should have been rated R, or there's an argument because look, and no matter what, like I said, I'm a sociologist. I always see everything racial, especially racial. Man, why all the people of color always got to die, bro? Like, why does it go down like that? Like,
did you just ruin the movie? Did you just ruin the movie?
You
just ruined the movie. You just ruined the movie.
Look, it's already been out. So anyway,
you ruined the movie for everybody. I'm not gonna repeat it.
No, I didn't.
I'm not gonna repeat the spoiler. But seeing as the only black person I know in there.
No, there was no. Oh no, that black person didn't die.
Will Smith doesn't die.
Will Smith does not die. Yeah, that's okay. So
you would have totally ruined the movie for me.
Look, I'm just saying. See now, brown folks didn't do that well. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave it there. Brown folks didn't do that well. The one black dude that was a soldier, he was the one that they emphasized when they was walking up and the witch kissed him and then made him into one of her super soldiers and what alien thingies.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, look, you'll understand when you watch the movie because I know you're gonna watch the movie.
I'm very behind on summer blockbusters. I still need to see The Secret Life of Pets. That's my next movie. Don't judge me, people. Don't judge me.
No, we're gonna judge you.
I haven't seen Star Trek yet. I need to see that one. I'm very behind.
Well, I haven't seen Star Trek yet either. Also, I'd have talked about that. I'm catching up too. I'm picking and choosing.
Got it.
So what you listening to, bro?
You know what? I am not listening to Frank Ocean. That's what I am not listening to. So I tried. I was ready. I'm not a huge Frank Ocean fan. I have the mixtape, one of the mixtapes. I got Channel Orange and I've listened to them. I own them. I may have paid for one of them. But I'm not a huge Frank Ocean fan. So after 2, 3, 4, 12 years, whatever, I started to get the hype. I started to catch the feelings of waiting. And I may have even checked Friday for the album and nothing. So I know I'm not in my feelings like some of my other friends who've been really, really, really waiting for this album. But I was kind of waiting for it. And now there's nothing. So you know what? I'm not listening to Frank Ocean. That's just what's not happening.
Who the hell is Frank Ocean?
That's why we do the podcast, people. Because not all black people know who Frank Ocean is. This is why we do the podcast.
The only Ocean that I know about is Billy Ocean. That was back in the day. But it's like, no,
Billy Ocean.
I'm making this worse, right? Am I making this worse?
Yes.
So
yes, you just made this way worse. Yo, that was my grandma's favorite album of like 1986. Billy Ocean.
What is it?
Get out of here.
The Caribbean Queen.
Get out of here with that.
No, like that's the only Ocean that I know, bro. I'm Frank Ocean.
No, okay. You're done. You're done. You're officially done with
play
that.
The theme music.
We are gonna play the theme music. It's over. Shut it down. It's time to go home.